I'm really happy to be here at St Cuthberts Mill today. I'm working on these new Milford watercolour blocks, and I like using Milford because it's hard sized, and the fact that the paint sits on the surface of the paper a little bit longer than normal, but in this weather I don't think that's going to be much of a problem. I like this scene in front of me because of the reflections and these holes through the foliage to the field beyond, so it gives a nice light and dark contrast, and I think I'll make a start. I'm going to begin by making a couple of basic washes, I think, just to get an underlying colour onto the paper, particularly in this weather when it's going to dry so quickly. I just want to get something so that when I paint over the top, this paint is going to, or this layer of paint is going to kind of show through. I keep everything very, very loose at this point. I don't make any marks with pencil, or because I think, or I feel that I'm colouring in. I have a tendency for detail, and I really want to keep things as loose and as fresh as I can. So by painting directly onto the paper, this kind of stops me getting too involved with any sort of detail. So at this point I'm going to kind of let the sun dry things off a little bit before I make any more marks, because I want to start going in with another wash to darken up the tree here, and then the reflections will be down here, and I'll start making a few calligraphic marks with the rigger. With this old Chinese brush that's seen better days, but kind of perfect for what I want really. So I'm going to make some dark marks. I'm not sure how this is going to go, but I'll try and get some almost neat kind of paint in there. Just painting around leaves and kind of random shapes very, very quickly. I don't want to get bogged down with detail and doing things as though they're too deliberate. It's all got to seem quite random, which kind of means that it's either going to work or it's not. So fingers crossed. It's very difficult painting in the sun like this because you're getting the reflection of the white paper in your eyes, so it's very hard to tell whether it's dark enough. It's quite tricky at this stage, or any stage really, using watercolour, because you can't go back in and correct things. Well, you can do a little to a certain extent, but it's not like oil where you can scrape the paint off the canvas. With watercolour, the mark you make is pretty much where the paint's going to be. You can take the paint off to some extent, but you'll never get back to the white paper. It's making these quick decisions now about where to put these marks and washes. I keep seeing the trout jump in the river here, or I don't actually get to see the after effects of the trout jumping in the river here. I know the people are very concerned here at St Cuthberts Mill about the water quality and the lengths that they go to make sure that the river isn't contaminated in any way whatsoever.
So David, as you know, we use a lot of water when we make paper, and we also add a lot of chemicals in there. Before we put the water back into the river, we need to clean up all those chemicals to make sure that nothing nasty is going to affect the environment.
And what does this do?
This here is the high rate filter. This is full of bacteria which effectively eat some of the additions in the water.
And where does the water go from here?
From here the water will go to the drum filter and through a couple of other processes to make sure that it is pure and clean before it goes back to the River Axe.
I'm not quite sure how much more I can usefully add to this before I melt, because this is absolutely roasting. There's bits of it that I like and bits of it that I don't. I quite like these darks and some of these little marks where the paint has dried on the paper. This bit here, some of these dark bits. For those elements of this study that I'm happy with, there's more that I'm not. But I did have a go at a couple of other little paintings back in the studio under less challenging conditions. Obviously, there's not so much sun, there's no camera. It allowed the paper really to show more its qualities, I think, especially with the allowing the paint to dry more naturally or more slowly, and a bit more granulation happening, especially in the river area, which I was quite drawn to. I think it's quite obvious to everybody that I haven't included the blossom on here. It was more for me about the kind of light and the dark and those kind of light holes, I suppose, for want of a better word. I could go back and put the blossom in, but that would mean dampening the paper and trying to get that colour back, but that just isn't me, flowers and things. So yeah, I think I'm cooked.